Perhaps before I start, let me just clear the air on some of these things that are just doing the rounds, and which I don't know which basis do they come from. The report is the Berger also. This is one of these Afrikaans newspapers. This stuff about me being the DG of minerals and so on, I have no clue where that comes from. So I just want to set the record straight that this is just a pure rumor, and that's what there is to it. Okay, it's probably, let's call it a media deployment strategy. That's what it is. I think it's a media deployment strategy. There's no such a thing. So let everybody just relax. I'm here to stay. So guys, we'll still be here together. So I'm not moving. Okay, I know nothing about this movement story. So I just needed to just, first of all, set that straight. Okay, so there must be no ambiguity about this matter. We all know that the Department of Agriculture, Forest and Fisheries, Economic Development Department and the DTI have lodged a review application seeking the Competitions Appeal Court to review the decision by the Competition Tribunal to approve the Walmart Nesmart measure and to refer the matter back to the Competition Tribunal for consideration. Why is that happening? The review application points to serious flaws on the provision of relevant information and documents by the major parties in consequence of the curtailment of information that the Competition Tribunal ordered to make available for discovery. So what this means is that government is prevented from placing before the tribunal all relevant information that was required for proper consideration by the Competition Tribunal based on crucial data and documents in the possession of the merging parties. For example, on the current level of local procurement and potential for future imports, this also affected the crafting of appropriate conditions relating to the approval of the measure. So in addition, the timetable for the hearing set by the Competition Tribunal and the scheduling of witness testimony compromise the ability of all parties to properly ventilate their concerns. The departments argue in their papers that this lack of information in turn affected the ability of the Competition Tribunal to properly appreciate the potential damage of the measure and the crafting of appropriate conditions to address such damage. So it's all gobbledygook and so on. But what is it that is being said here? If you forget everything I've said, here are the three things that you must remember. The debate is about, the debate in this measure is that the government is concerned about the impact this will have on job creation. If you forget everything else, just remember, what this government is jealously guarding against is the issue of job creation in a sustainable way. This is what this government is worried about. Must remember, we've got a target as this government that we must reach. So everything that happens that in some shape or form could threaten the issue of job creation, then government gets on its tentacles to make sure that it safeguards that. Government is concerned that the takeover by Walmart may lead to higher imports and squeeze local suppliers. You know that we are very serious about local production in this country. So we do not want a situation where local production is negatively affected, because that's got a direct impact again on job creation and also on all the various other strategic objectives of the country. So, and by the way, if we don't do that, it also means the growth of the economy, a centerpiece of it would be affected. So that's what this government is looking at. The Competition Act encourages the government to protect the public interest in the case of measures. So I think, therefore, I think it's important for people to understand that government did not just barge in. It is expected that government must come in the public interest. This is what government is doing. It's exercising its due responsibility. This is not interference in business. It's government doing what the law requires it to do. That's what government is doing. So government is not looking at blocking this measure, not at all. And government is not opposed to foreign direct investment. But we want all of those things to happen in a context that helps government to achieve its objectives. And it regards corruption as a cancer that could be a threat in our newfound democracy. So we don't want anybody to tell us that. We know it ourselves, that corruption is undesirable. Corruption can undermine the whole of this democracy. So we don't want anybody telling us that. We know it ourselves. What we want is cooperation to make sure that that is rooted out. Government is therefore determined to root out corruption both from public and private sector alike. Because sometimes there's just focus just on government, and corruption is actually a pervasive thing both in government and in the private sector, and would like, in fact, media to report on all of these things. We must please report on corruption in government, but equally do report on corruption in the private sector. Otherwise, we're sending a wrong message. Otherwise, we are saying corruption in the private sector is acceptable simply because it's private money. That can't be. It's a wrong thing, and it must be condemned whenever it rears its ugly head. The might of the law will be unleashed against anyone who commits corruption, regardless of their rank in society. The JCPS cluster has therefore adopted a zero-tolerance approach against corruption in all its forms. In line with this approach, the cluster's coordinating task team is responsible for implementing coordinated and integrated corruption-fighting operations across the cluster. The cluster is committed to achieve by 2014 the conviction of 100 people who have assets of more than 5 million obtained through illicit means. In this regard, there are already 39 criminal investigations that have been initiated involving the 111 accused persons. These cases involve complex investigative processes and will take time to conclude. However, assets to the value of 468 million in 13 cases have already been placed under restraint pending the finalization of these cases. So, colleagues, the point here, very loud and clear. Corruption is something that this government will not tolerate. There is a zero tolerance for corruption by this government, and everything that is corruption-oriented will not be swept under the carpet, will be dealt with very decisively.